Get ready for the show, it's about to begin. Pro fan talk when we dive right in. Sports talk, hot takes, ain't nothing we lack. We the real fans, nothing holding us back. Mic check, 1, 2, y'all know the drill. We bringing the energy, we keep it real. From touchdowns to liquid air on the slam dunks on the court. Every sport, every game, we holding down the fort. We breaking down the plays, dissecting the stats. Pro fan talk, we keeping it fat. Debating with passion, no filter, no doubt. We the voice of the fans, we scream and we shout. Get ready for the show, it's about to begin. Pro fan talk when we dive right in. Sports talk, hot takes, ain't nothing we lack.
Damn it. I should have known. This stupid. No, I shouldn't say it's not stupid. This mic is phenomenal. It's me. It's user error. Because I always this is touch sensitive. So a lot of times if I just brush by it, but I don't even think I did that. I think I just forgot. So but what's going on? I'm back. I'm back. Appreciate that function. Appreciate that cue. Let me know, Chris. Um Panda Mortis. Appreciate everybody in the house. Chris 3K. Q. What's going on, man? A lot of stuff going on. A lot of stuff. A lot of stuff. Buffalo is on the 11-yard line, 1st and 10. So Buffalo's going to get some. No, I'm sorry. The Texans are going to get some points. The Texans are about to score. The Texans are on 2nd and 10. They are on the Buffalo 11. So they're going to get at least 3 points out of this. So that would make it a 7-point game. Let's see if they can get a see if they can get 6 points out of this. Make it a 2-possession game. Let's see. But in any case, but what's good with you? What's good with you? I see Ziggy Marley in the house. Alan wet the bed tonight, hurting your fantasy team. Oh my God. I am so glad that I don't get involved with all of that, man. I am so glad that I never got into betting. Never got into it. Shout out to my roommate, Doobie Burkhalter, who's my roommate at Eastern Kentucky. And he made me realize very quickly that I was not a gambler. In the football dorm, they used to play Tonk all the time, and they used to play Tonk for money. And I got big and bad one night, decided I wanted to play. Man, I lost like $30 in about 30 seconds. And I was like, yeah, this is not for me. Definitely not for me. So you know what, Function, I can't do fantasy because right about now, like weeks 8, 9, and 10, that's where I lose interest. Because I'm so hyper focused on the games, watching the stuff and studying what happens. I lose. I'm like, I'd be the dude in your fantasy league that always forgets to set his roster. I'm that dude. I'm the dude that'll start 2 guys that are on the bye week or somebody that got hurt and I didn't even realize it. I'm the dude that does that stuff because I forget about it. I'll be good with it for like 3 weeks and then I kind of lose interest in it because I'm so focused on the games. So, but it's cool. I've done it a couple years. I didn't dislike it. I just, my focus goes in other places very quickly. So What's up, Dave Money? They still trying to bring up the drama. 4th and 7. Doesn't look like they're gonna score. It's gonna be a field goal. They still trying to dig up the drama on AJ and Jalen, and D Gun got stuff to say. D Jax got stuff to say, and it's like, whatever happened to just mind your damn business? Whatever happened to that? Minding your business don't pay bills. Now, if you know a secret on somebody, um, that can get you paid. So I guess it is what it is. This is the evolution of the news. It's not a very good metamorphosis, and I'm including myself in that category because I'm part of the YouTube and social media. I'm not a real journalist. I look at the stuff I see on television, and I give my perspective based on my experience. My 5.5 years in professional sports, in the NFL, in the CFL, in the World League. Um, I have a unique perspective, I like to think, not as much as somebody like Seth or my boy Willie T that played like 8, 10, 12 years in the league, but still, I tell people all the time, I might not have had a long career, but they like to say you had a cup of coffee in the league, and I tell people that's my cup of coffee. I still made it the top 1% of my class. But so you see some things and some things, and it's just we in a different era, we in a different time. We didn't get down like that when I played. Uh, Even the people that would come after you or were disrespectful, they still had to come see you because they had to come in the locker room. They couldn't write something from a mile away. And the one thing that I figured out now is listening to all of these guys um, on TV. Most of them, are looking at things from the outside in. So here's what they do is they know somebody that might live close to the situation. So they get secondhand information and then they take it and run with it. That's where you get all of these sources close to the information, sources to the locker room. And I said this before, and I will repeat myself because I don't think anything has changed from when I played, when I was in the locker room. I don't think anything has changed. If when I played with the Eagles, if Randall or Seth or Clyde or Wes Hop or Andre Waters or Willie T or Byron Evans or Calvin Williams or Fred Barnett or Brian Baldinger, if Eric Allen, if any of those dudes would have found out it was somebody in the locker room snitching, running to the press, snitching, it would be a problem and a big one. And I tend to believe that still remains to this day because the locker room is still it's still very much a familial environment. The fellas in that locker room are the fellas in that locker room, them your boys. You ain't got to go hang out with them every day. You got your cliques in the locker room, just like you got in high school, in college, in frats, all of that type of stuff. It's the same stuff. When I was in college, I was alpha. I had friends that were Qs. I remember pledging with the Qs. I was a Sphinx head. I was a Sphinx online for alpha. And the Lamps who were online for Q, we used to pledge together because all our big brothers was on the football team. So we was always together. Always. We would be at parties because one of the big brothers that was pledging me, that's the guy, you guys, if you ever hear my WNBA content, Kelsey Mitchell's father was one of the guys that pledged me at Eastern Kentucky. And he was the campus DJ. He was the one everybody wanted to DJ. So he would always get me because we all went to the same high school. He would always bring me along when I was pledging, and I would be the one to have to carry the records. And because back in the day, you didn't just have a library you didn't have a phone to have your music library. We we going back to the milk crates, 5 and 6 milk crates of records. So I used to help them do setup, but I'm saying all that to say, um, there was Qs on the football team, there was alphas on the football team, there was sigmas on the football team. No kappas, but kappas were on the yard. But we would the alphas and the Qs would always be at the parties, and the Qs, the Sphinx and the lamps would always line up together. It would be our 8 because I was online with 8 people, and then the lamps, and we'd always line up together. So we would hang out a little bit. And I'm saying all that to say that was the relationship we were in, because most of those guys that were players, and we was all on the football team. So we still had that in common. I know I kind of went off on a tangent there, but we all had that in college. So it was a very family brotherhood type thing. And if there was somebody in the locker room that was snitching, we had problems with that. And I would like to think it's the same thing today. Like you can't have somebody that's just running and telling business to somebody else. That's a problem. Keep family business in the family. So how is it that everybody on the outside looking in know all of this stuff? Who they talking to? Here's what I think. Do I think it's somebody on the team or something like that? No. Could it be a trainer? Could it be an equipment guy? Could it be somebody in the cafeteria? Could it be somebody in the front office? Somebody wanted, how many secretaries and people is running around doing paperwork at NovaCare? And sometimes they see some things, sometimes they hear some things. Those are the sources. But even those people aren't in the locker room. So it's the stuff with D Gun, I was like, come on, man. And everybody, that's national news now, because I hear his name on Get Up, on with First Take. They all talking about his comments because they taking it as gospel. And I said this to when me and Tone talked about during the pregame show last week. I brought up a clip. I found a clip with Eddie Murphy. It was on. I might bring it up. It was a clip. It was a film critic who was talking about Eddie Murphy's Beverly Hills Cop. Beverly Hills Cop was the movie where Eddie Murphy just went next level. It was 48 Hours. Then it was Trading Places. But it was Beverly Hills Cop where he just went to the moon. Superstar, right? But there's a scene in Beverly Hills Cop where he's walking. He first gets there and he walked past these 2 guys with the Michael Jackson jackets on, and he laughed because they had the jackets on, they had the Jerry curls, and in the movie he's in Beverly Hills, but he's from Detroit. So he was laughing at that. The film critic comes up with this very logical sound theory that scene he was making fun of himself, because his first big comedy special, Raw, or not Raw, but Delirious, he had on this hot red leather suit. He was famous for that for a time. And this critic goes to tell that Eddie was probably laughing at himself. And this whole, it was very thoughtful and it made total sense. And my point in saying it is, listening to this guy, he was credible. He made sense. It was a logical train of thought. And if Eddie Murphy had not chimed in on his own, this dude's word would have been gospel. At the end of this little interview, Eddie Murphy comes and he's like, nah, that ain't got nothing to do with it. It ain't had nothing to do with me making fun of himself. It had everything to do with the dude, one of the guys that was in got that little cameo role, walking with the jackets on, was a friend of Eddie Murphy's. And Eddie said he made a face, like a funny face, as they were walking by. Because in that scene, you don't see the dude's face. You just see him walking. And Eddie said he made this goofy face and he started cracking up. It ain't had nothing to do with him making fun of himself. But my point is that that film critic sounded very credible, sounded like he knew what he was talking about, and actually everything he said made perfect sense. It just wasn't true. And if Eddie hadn't have come on, you'd have thought that dude was spot on. And that's how I look at some of these guys in the media now, because they are somewhat close to the situation. So you would think that they would maybe they'll have an inside source or something like that. But at the end of the day, they don't. Unless you in the locker room, unless you in the film room, you don't know. And that's the other thing. Most of the goings on is not in the locker room. Most of the happenings in the relationships and the meetups is not in the locker room. But it's not even on the field. It's in the film room. We spend more time in the film room than any other place. The film room is where it happens. If you watching film, if you got a meeting at 10 o'clock, you'll be in the film room at 9:45. And it might be somebody that was in there since 9:30 watching film on their own. You will see that all the time. So it might be 5 or 10 guys in the film room. They might have the tapes playing. They might just be in their BS, wasting time. But if you got the film on, eventually you're going to take a look at it. And just being in each other's company, watching film together, that's how we used to do. That's where the relationships happen, in the film room, not the locker room. So I don't think, well, what I do think is most of the commentary is way overblown, period. And you can't tell me anything different. These, like most people from the outside looking in, they don't know what's going on. They guessing. Let's keep it a buck. They guessing. They hoping they right. You know what I'm saying? But they don't know. They trying to get lucky. What I look at it as, and I've said this before, it reminds me of if you and your significant other are having a spirited conversation, not even an argument, just like a spirited conversation, and a stranger or a nosy neighbor sees 10, 15 seconds of that conversation. They think you arguing, and they run and try to tell your business, like, but they don't know just of the situation. They don't know if y'all was laughing, joking. They don't know what the situation. All they know is what they saw. That's it. All they know is what they saw. They don't know. They just take it and run with it. So, it is what it is. So you got to be careful with that stuff. But at the end of the day, I think it's overblown. I think the people in the locker room love each other in the locker room. You just have. Do I think that AJ and Jalen are as tight as they used to be? Absolutely not. You know why? AJ got a kid now. Jalen Hurts is married now. So maybe they was doing some things as single men that Jalen can't do no more because he married. Did anybody bother thinking of that? Everybody got a situation. Everybody knows some people, or you may have been that person. When you got married, there were some people you didn't hang out with no more. There were some things, I ain't going to the club no more. I'm good. I can't do this. I can't do that no more. I'm just because you got to change, because you got somebody else that hits your top spot now. Life be lifing. So no, you're not gonna hang out and you're not gonna be as close and talk as much because you got your wife right there. You know what I'm saying? So there's a lot of other things that could be into that or could be causes of that. So who knows what the situation? He's still the godfather of AJ's daughter. That don't go nowhere. But I think people are trying to people have a people have a bad habit of projecting their personality on other people. That's what they do. They like to project their personality on other people. And it's like you can't do that. That's a grown person. Let them think for themselves. Shrink this up a little bit. There we go. Just so we can see the stats over here. So yeah, that's ooh, blitz. Yeah, throw the ball away. Wow, good job getting rid of the ball. Good job getting rid of the ball. Nah, that's what it somebody said something about D Gun's wife. Don't say nothing about D Gun's wife, dude. She ain't got nothing to do with this, bro. She ain't got nothing to do with it. So that don't the D Gun, this D Gun is somebody that I've dealt with personally. Um, I've been on he brought me on his show. I got much love for D Gun. So, but I know he ain't gonna throw it. I ain't gotta agree with him, but I ain't gonna disrespect him. And I damn sure not gonna disrespect his wife, bro. So please don't do that. Um uh dude, that's what they do, Q. That's what they do now. I like I'm starting to come around on Acho, but the whole thing and they are just playing with what works right now. That's all they're doing. So I can't get mad at them, but I can acknowledge sometimes I don't like their delivery. I can't listen to Cam Newton no more. I like Cam. I had to get used to Cam on his podcast, but even that was like it was grating. The way he talks and the way he yelling, and Acho does the same thing. And it's like, calm down, like hold on, we're like, whoa, 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 like ease up. I can hear you. Like use your inside voice. So, Acho be talking so fast sometimes, but that's the thing that he's doing when he's like trying to review film and stuff like that. He got that cadence that's super fast and he's going over plays and this is and that works. People he getting the view, so he gonna keep doing that. So, but I gotta acknowledge the fact that he watches the tape, and I'm so tired of people making comments like Greeny and all of them people. And I like Mike Greenberg, but I know he don't watch damn tape. I know Dan Orlovsky don't even watch a lot of tape. I know he watches tape, but for as much commentary as they give on the game, they don't watch enough tape. And the problem is that when you are on a show like that, Orlovsky and Ryan Clark and all of those guys, when they're on those shows, the guys that played in the league, they're gonna have the advantage because they gonna see some things and they already know what it is because they can't watch tape. They simply do not have the time to watch tape on all of those games. They cannot do it. It's impossible. Not enough hours in the day. So what they do is they get a whole bunch of notes thrown in front of their face. They got a whole crew behind them doing research on everything. How you think they pull out all of them obscure facts and all of that kind of stuff? Somebody looks all of that information up, and when we go to commercial, or if you know how production works, you ever notice how you see the panel and then they'll focus in on one person? Well, why they focus in on one person? They got somebody behind the scene giving everybody notes, and then they got to run off before the camera pans to the whole view again. So they got different ways to do that, and somebody had by the microphones in their ear, and you got somebody talking in their ear, stuff like that. They delivering notes. They don't know all of that stuff. I've told you before, the two guys that I will listen to and I will trust everything they say implicitly. Well, you can say three guys really, but two guys, Greg Cosell and Brian Baldinger. Greg Cosell works for NFL Films. I met Greg one time when I did a tour of NFL Films. The NFL alumni, sack again on Josh Allen. The NFL alumni, we did a trip up to NFL Films, and I met Greg. Greg was there talking with John, Big John Runyon. And I know John, so I went over there, dapped him up and everything. And Greg was like, "Hey, I remember you." And we talked for about 5 minutes. I was like, "Hey, man, I'm a fan. Love your work." And then Baldy was one of my teammates when I was with the Eagles. And I know Baldy watches tape. Greg Cosell and Baldy. And the other guy, the third guy, is I don't know if you've ever seen his website, JT O'Sullivan from the quarterback school. He breaks down tapes. Most of his stuff is quarterback centric. He breaks down tapes. And he knows what he's talking about. But if you watch tape, it'll tell you the truth. If you watch tape, it will tell you the truth. I also like Murph from Top Billing, his podcast. He a Philly dude. You can tell he watches a lot of tape. He used to be a scout. Love that dude. But yeah, I want to watch the guys that watch tape, that study the game, and they figure out what's going on. I was watching tape today of the Eagles. I wanted to watch all Saquon Barkley's runs because I still say the reason why this offense is kind of puttering along is because our run game is trash right now. Our run game is trash. That is a problem. And what I figured out, we knew Cam Jurgens was not up to snuff. Cam Jurgens is still coming off an injury because he did not have the greatest of games last week. Neither did Dickerson. But the problem on our offensive line is our tight ends cannot block. The best blocking tight end we got is Latu. That's the problem. You can go back, and I plan on doing this tomorrow, but I want to see all of those. I'm looking up all of the plays with Saquon, all of the runs with Saquon. And I want to see what's the blocks on our offensive line and what are our tight ends doing. Our tight ends cannot block. Granson cannot block. Cannot block. Let Latu go out there if you got to block the end or the edge. Granson can't do it. Calcaterra can't do it. Dallas Goedert is just okay. But we got to get Dallas Goedert in pass patterns. So, damn, they sacked him again. Hey, he got that off. Texans gonna mess around and win this game. We got this pick wrong. Me and Tone both picked the Bills over Texans. And by the way, now that we're talking about this, Josh Allen, right? Now that we're talking about Josh Allen, let's look at these stats. 19 for 25, 183 yards and a pick. But we having issues with Jalen Hurts because we winning, but we ain't throwing the ball great. I'm looking right here. The Buffalo Bills are 7-3, about to be 7-4. We 8-2. What's the problem? What's the problem? You win the $1 million lottery and you gonna bitch because they gave you all $5 bills? What's the problem? That's you looking for ways to bitch, moan, and complain. That's what people are doing. They looking for stuff to be wrong. They looking for stuff to bitch about. I know what the situation is. I go all the way back to last year versus Carolina when AJ said what he said. Because if we want to be real about it, that's when all of this shit started. That game right there is when all of this stuff started. We had already been through what happened with 23. And after that Carolina game, Jalen had 109 yards passing. And we won. And AJ Brown had the audacity to say, we got to get the passing game better. And people lost their shit. Everybody was crashing out. How you going to complain when we win? And I was like, did y'all see the same game that I saw? If you was watching the same game that I was watching, AJ Brown was 100% correct. And ever since that game, then the tweets started happening. And then it was, he ain't been wrong yet. He ain't been wrong yet. You want him to be a captain. You want somebody on your team to be a captain that's vocal and will lead the front for you. And then when he do that, you want to rip him for it because you don't like his tweets. Get the hell out of here with that nonsense. Take your thin-skinned ass out of Philly then. You got to at least speak the truth. The one thing you cannot argue with is the truth because it'll always come back to truth. And that ain't got nothing to do with, don't think for a second Jalen Hurts don't want to win. Don't think for a second Jalen Hurts don't want to get the ball to AJ and Devontae and Dallas and Saquon. And I'm of the belief now, and this is just my opinion, I am of the belief now that this is more on Kevin Patullo's scheme than anything else. Because I've seen what Jalen can do. I've seen Jalen spin the ball down the field. I've seen Jalen throw to the middle. Go look up Jet Next Gen stats and look at in past years AJ Brown's passing tree. Go look it up. We can put it in the, we can throw the ball down the middle, but you gotta layer the routes to get to the middle. We have opportunities, but our play action is garbage because we have no run game. This man running all over the place. We have no run game right now. They stuffing. The reason why Tank Bigsby is having so much success is because Tank Bigsby will hit it in the middle and suck everybody in, and then he bounces it outside. One of the best run plays we had, and I just watched the film on this, one of the best run plays we had was the pitch to the left, and Saquon took it for like, I want to say like 12 yards or something like that. But it was a great play call because they pulled the guard, except they pulled the guard to the opposite side. Landon Dickerson pulled and ran to his right, and then Jalen pitched the ball to the left. And the only person out there was the in man on the line of scrimmage and the free safety. And by the time the free safety got over there, Saquon had gotten, what, 9 yards or whatever it was. But it was a positive play. I'll take that every day. Race him to the corner. Race him to the corner. If that defensive edge gets to Saquon before he gets 4 or 5 yards, then you know what? That's a Pro Bowl level performance by that edge right there. If you can catch Saquon going lateral and he going downhill, then you did something. Get your money. And isn't it funny? Isn't it funny? We hearing all of this complaints about the offense, predictable. We got to open it up. We got to do things different. You hearing all of this stuff about the offensive scheme. And now all of a sudden, just out of the blue, now all of a sudden, Kevin Patullo is the number one candidate for the next head coaching jobs. And I'm like, where did this come from? Where did this come from? How does he move to the top of the list? Certainly it can't be from this performance. It can't be. That makes absolutely no sense. And this is, I'm sorry to say it, but this is where you kind of look in the ists and the isms. You look at the way this offense has been performing with all of these primetime players on our squad. We got a quartet of Pro Bowlers. We got Jalen Hurts, Saquon Barkley, Devontae Smith, Dallas Goedert, and AJ Brown. Quinn. We got 5. We got a quintet. And we can't get the ball to AJ to save our life. Dallas can't block. Our offensive line, We we don't attack the passing game, in my opinion, the correct way. We don't attack the middle at all. But all of a sudden, he's number one on the list to be a head coach because somebody getting fired. And well, we know that. But how did he move to the top of the list? That's what I'm trying to figure out. And there's some directions I want to go with that conversation. And I really got the arched eyebrow up. Good Lord. But we'll see how that works out. We'll see how that works out. He might not be number one, but that's what I've been hearing. I saw a couple of reports today. But even to even get your name in that conversation, how does that happen? That's my question. How does, out of all the people you want to pick, and supposedly our offense is having all of these struggles, but I don't understand that. I don't understand it. So I'll go back 3 seasons. You can even go back 4 seasons. And you look at some of the things that Jalen Hurts has done in his past. So don't tell me that he can't throw the ball downfield. Don't tell me he can't throw the ball across the middle. Don't tell me he can't throw the deep ball. Don't tell me he can't throw the ball and put the ball on point and in position on time. He can do all of those things because we've seen him do it before, and we've seen him do it consistently. Don't forget when the bottom fell out of the Eagles in 23, it was the defense. It wasn't the offense. It was the defense that was tripping up. Defense couldn't make a tackle, and all of that shit with Sean Desai and Matt Patricia was a hot mess. And we never recovered from it. We lost the last 4? Everybody was picking on James Bradbury. We thought Keely Ringo was bad. That last stretch with James Bradbury was brutal. So they didn't forget how to play. But we haven't, and again, in my opinion, the issues that the Philadelphia Eagles are having right now is we cannot get consistent play out of the center and the guard. Okay? And then our tight ends can't block. Tight ends can't block. So the reason why Saquon has not been able to get off like he did last year was because the center's not doing a good job, and the guard is they constantly hurt. I'm ready to see Lampkin in there at center because Cam Jurgens is on the struggle bus right now. I don't know if he's not 100% or whatever the situation is, but every time you put them pads on and you line up on that field, I have expectations. If you hurt, say you hurt, and we'll figure something out. But if you out there and you starting, I got expectations for you, bro. So Afrado, I don't think it's 23. I don't think it's 23 at all. I don't believe that at all. I will lean more towards that opinion if they fire Kevin Patullo in the middle of the season. That's when I'll think that, because that'll be the same thing we did with Sean Desai. And I thought they railroaded him. Sean Desai, I thought, was doing a pretty good job. The problem with the defense was not on Sean Desai. The problem with the defense was because them jokers could not tackle to save their life. That wasn't Sean Desai's fault. That's a prerequisite. Remember, that was the year that Slade came on his podcast and had us have some choice words about Seth Joyner. And because Seth Joyner criticized him because he couldn't tackle. And it was true. The tackling was horrible. It was god-awful. Debo ran through us, and he made us look like a high school junior high. It was junior varsity tackling. It wasn't even. It was bad. Y'all know what it was. It was absolutely horrible. That wasn't Sean Desai's fault. You at the NFL level, I need you to know how to tackle. It ain't enough dummy drills in practice in the world that can teach you how to tackle. You either know how to do it or you don't. And the year before, we was tackling. So I don't know what happened. I don't know. But I know that we went into Los Angeles and we shut the Rams out. We shut Matthew Stafford and Puka Nacua. We shut them down for a half because they did not score in the second half, if you remember correctly. Sean Desai was just fine. So I don't know what the deal was if he wasn't getting along with people. I don't know. Josh Allen is 20 for 26, 189 yards in the pick. So we'll see if he can throw a passing touchdown in this game. Because if this was Jalen, you know whose fault this would be. You know how bad he would be playing. You got to throw the ball. All of the stuff that they criticize Jalen for, Josh Allen is doing the same shit right now. Same exact stuff. Except if he wins the game with his legs because he can't throw the ball today, they're going to call him gutsy. Oh, you got to make that tackle, bro. Nah, Cilio, I think he gets to be loudmouth, and because he knows so many people, it's the same thing like I was saying earlier. They want to take everything as gospel because they said it. It's like nah, and he'll be the main one talking about he knows credible people and all of that type of stuff. Nah, man, ain't nobody telling why they. So why is somebody off the cuff gonna tell Dan Cilio something, and they know what he do, sources and all that. A sources situation happened to me a couple weeks ago when the Brandon Graham deal happened. I had a buddy of mine who's tight with them told me on a Friday, and the news didn't come out till the next week. But he told me, he said, I was with him last night. He's coming out of retirement. He just hasn't told the press yet. And then like 3 days later, he did it on his podcast, and then it went out. But he told me, my friend told me not to say something, not to say anything. He's like, you can't say nothing, bro. You can't. And I understood, and I didn't sell him out. I didn't, none of that. But that was my first situation with sources. And even let's just play it out. If there is some friction with AJ and Jalen or whatever the situation is, when they step on the field, you still got to handle business. This is a results-based business, and you got work to do. So at least they still understand that tenet. Got him again. Josh Allen goes down again. That's got to be like 8 sacks, man, for the Texans. Al Shahir is having a game, man. Texans have. Can I see their sacks? Listen, man. Rocky, I agree with you. Everybody got an opinion. Opinions are like assholes. Everybody got one. And that's fine. And if you guys have been rocking with me long enough, you know your approval of my opinion is not required. That's the problem with a lot of these people on the radio. Everybody wants to be right. They don't care what they say. They don't care. They want to let everybody know they was right, or they want to let everybody know that they know something. Like I heard the comments by Djax, and I was like, why did you even have to say anything? Why? So you're not gonna come out and say what's going on. You're not gonna come out and tell who told you. You ain't gonna say how you found out. The only thing you're gonna say is, I know that this is happening because this happened to me. Once again, because I'm an expert, I've been there, blah, blah, blah. And there's some validity to that. But at the end of the day, you coming out and all you did was say, I know what's going on. I'm gonna leave it at that. You ain't have to say nothing. What was the point? The only point was so you can let everybody know that you might have some information about the situation. So now everybody gonna ask you every chance they get, and you gonna continue to say, I can't say nothing, and my boys got to keep it under wrap, and you got to go through all of those semantics. And so if you're not gonna say anything, what was the point of saying it? The point was everybody want to have something to say just so they can say I had something to say. That's why. Deshaun Jackson could have kept that shit quiet. You got a team to coach, dog. Go ahead on with Dell State and do what you got to do. You bringing that information to the forefront was absolutely useless. Absolutely useless. So I don't know why he did that. Just so he could get some more pub on his podcast, and everybody gonna be talking about it. He'll bring it up again, and he just gonna bring it up and then put it back down. You know what I mean? He ain't gonna say nothing. He ain't gonna say nothing. But now everybody knows he knows something, so he's gonna get a million questions. So I bet you're gonna get some more people tuning in for his podcast. Come on, man. You ain't gonna flim flam old flim flammer. Yeah, Keith Shorty, he want to be relevant. He is relevant though. That's what I don't get. I don't disagree with you whatsoever, but he already is relevant. I mean, I don't know. I just think it's funny, man. Um, I just think it's funny. Yeah, Ian. It was like, what was the point? What was the point? But everybody's gonna lead with it. Everybody's leading with the drama in Philly and AJ and all of it, and it's like it ain't AJ. It is not AJ Brown. And I still say the whole situation with AJ Brown is an easy fix. In my opinion, it's an easy fix. You motion AJ Brown to the slot and let him do some quick slants on some folks. He gonna break one of them tackles, and then you build off of that. Run some double moves, some fake slants, some in and outs, all of that type of stuff. All of that type of stuff. So, it's going to play itself out one way or the other. That was a hell of a catch, and it's a shame he didn't get both feet in bounds. Oh, he tried to put that hand down. That was a hell of a catch, though. Too bad it don't count. What's going on with Keon Coleman? I ain't seen him in the game yet. Screenplay. Oh, he missing meetings. Oh, he a knucklehead then, huh? He must have been buying him some new winter coats at J.C. Penney's. Idiot. Oh shit, he got scratched? He was inactive tonight? Oh my God. He gonna be one of them dudes, man. He gonna be one of them dudes. He gonna get promoted to fan. He gonna get promoted to fan. He doing some shit that he used to do in college. That's what he doing. Thinking he can get away with it. 2-game suspension? Are you for real? He got suspended 2 games? That's crazy, man. I don't understand these kids these days. I don't get it. The amount of money you making in the NFL and you still screw it up willingly, probably over some behind, because that's what these kids do, man. And I understand it. Everybody done been there, but come on, dog. You got to understand what's at stake. You got to understand how much money you giving up. So whatever you was doing, whatever club you was at, whatever strip club or stripper you had, whatever you was doing that caused you to miss those meetings, you got to count the cost. Was it worth it? Was it worth it? Now he got a reputation. So, hey, he a grown ass man. Grown ass man. You like that, huh? I've been using that one for a while. You get promoted to fan. But listen, man, it's always some. Every camp, there's on every team, there's always somebody. There's always somebody that it's one of them dudes like, you might not want to hang out with that person because the coaches already don't like him and he's going to get cut in the first round of cuts. There's always a person. There's always a person that's always going out to the clubs. There's always a person that's sneaking out past curfew or trying to sneak girls in. There's always somebody that's doing all of that type of stuff. Keon Coleman is that. Offensive pass interference. Bam. Texans defense holds. Nicely done. Nicely done. If we cannot get people to force them to get in there. Oh, man. Listen, man, I would love to get somebody in here that would stay longer than 2 years or stay longer than a year. Damn, it's like, Shane Steichen was here for 2 years and he got the best out of Jalen Hurts. So that's I guess the Philadelphia Eagles are the gold standard in starting your coaching tree. I guess that's the gold standard now. I don't know. I don't know. Yo, Josh Allen just got beat by Davis Mills. Davis Mills outplayed Josh Allen tonight. Stanford quarterback, Davis Mills. Wow. And there you have it. Anybody can get got. We've been talking about this all damn year. Anybody can get got. And you can see Buffalo, you got. This is what Dan Orlovsky was talking about. Jalen Hurts is winning games. Josh Allen ain't getting it done. Y'all just got beat by the Texans. And Mr. All-World Josh Allen couldn't get it done. He got outplayed by Davis Mills. CJ Stroud ain't even in the game. You got beat by a backup, dog. Anybody can get got. Anybody. These teams are not that good. And when the Eagles get it together and their offense finally starts clicking, these other teams going to have a problem. They don't want to see us. All we got to do is get to the end. Once we get to the end, can't nobody mess with us. We got to get our offensive line together, and they got to figure out what the hell they want to do with these tight ends. That's what they got to figure out how to do. That's where our weakness is. If we can figure that out, we'll get it done. We'll get it done. Adam Schefter made a very good point today because it looks like the Eagles are going to win the NFC East and probably win the NFC. If they do that, that means we play two home games in the Super Bowl. That's it. 2 home games, then we in the Super Bowl. Tell me that wouldn't be nice. Tell me that wouldn't be nice. Robert, listen, that's sometimes it happens like that. Sometimes you one play or one player away. When last year, when the offensive line went to Sirianni and said what they said and they started running the ball more, that could have happened in week 8. And guess what? Didn't nobody tell the media that folks was complaining? Nobody said shit about it. That's why when they talking that noise about AJ, you're like, y'all can miss me with that. We done had too many opportunities where you can jump on somebody's case for some of the stuff that they have said, and you didn't do it. Now, when AJ is on the mic, everybody got a problem with it. I don't like the way he tweets. He needs to stop and all of that type of stuff. He didn't have to meet with Jeffrey Lurie because he was tweeting. He had to meet with Jeffrey Lurie because y'all kept crashing out, and then you get in the media sessions, and the only thing you want to do is ask about that. Now that creates a distraction. Do y'all understand how that works? Thank you, Ian. Appreciate that, man. Appreciate that. No one wants to play in Philly in January. Facts. That's big facts, bro. Don't nobody want to come down 95. Nobody don't want to deal with our problem. Nobody. So what I'm going to assume is, and I know I'm taking the chance of assuming, because when you assume, it just makes that an ass out of you and me. But we've got 8 weeks of football left. Let me see. This is we 8-2, 6, 7, 2, so we got 7 weeks of football left. We got 7 weeks of football. So we got 7 weeks to get it right. 7 weeks. Why can't we do that? So you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna watch that Rams game. I'm gonna go back and watch those bipolar games. What did we do in the second half that we didn't do in the first? What did we do in the first half that we didn't do in the second? I want to watch those 2 games and then compare and contrast with what we did in New York and some of the other games where we had a decent passing attack and a decent offensive output. We already know what the situation is with Saquon. It ain't nothing wrong with Saquon. He didn't lose the step. That's the furthest from the truth. The only people that have lost the step is our offensive line. So I'm looking forward to seeing Willie Lampkin. I want to see what the kid can do. So Fred Johnson has been fine. We'll get to see Miles Hinton, I think, this week. He come from good stock, so I'm itching to see him play because he is huge. And his daddy played in the league for a long time. So he knows exactly what he's doing. So they can miss me with a lot of this stuff. They just want something to talk about. They just want something to talk about. And they're going to talk about it, man. They're going to keep it going until we find a new narrative. Until the Eagles make their own narrative, they're going to keep running with this stuff. It is what it is. I don't think Hinton's going to play either, but I was watching him coming out of Michigan. So he's got some skills and he's a legacy. Usually when you got legacy offensive linemen, just look at John Runyon Jr. They've been around it and they got the tricks of the trade, the feet. Usually guys like that have good feet. That's because that's most important for offensive linemen. You got to have good feet and you got to have good balance to be able to plant that back foot and extend and drive your opponent into the dirt. I don't think we're missing Johnny Wilson. I think we're missing Shane Steichen. That's what I think we're missing. We're missing a good offensive coordinator. And let me be honest with you, I don't think Kevin Patullo is bad. I just think we need somebody much better. That's what I think. So they got to turn this thing around and turn this offense around and see what we can see. So, but in any case, we need an elite OC, even if we win the. Yeah, I agree with you, man. I agree with you. We do need an elite OC. We need somebody that can mix things up. We say that so passe. We say it all the time, but I don't think people really understand what that means. And it's all about just attacking every level, every zone, and every zone gap of a defense, figuring out what they give you and exploiting it. What do I know? What do I know? But I'm about to shut it down because I got to get up. Had a busy day of work this week. Make sure if you have not, please become members. I just added some new membership numbers. Yeah, become a member. Come part of my squad. Keep it moving. It'll be interesting to hear what all of the rhetoric will be for Josh Allen after this game. Oh my God. But listen, I'm gonna get up out of here, man. Good conversations tonight. Appreciate everybody. I gotta get some sleep. And y'all have a good night. Obviously, I'm gonna have some more information tomorrow. I'm gonna have some information about the whole, Dan Orlovsky's comments. I just don't feel like editing nothing else tonight. So I'm gonna do it morning. But appreciate y'all. Good conversation tonight. Good show. Well, I might do something tomorrow. I don't know. Depends on how we go. Stay tuned. Click on that notification bell. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you send it to your friend. If they own mobile, make sure they slide that button in the middle to where it says hype and click on that hype. Give me them hype points. Let's just keep it moving and we continue to grind and grow. Thank y'all for joining me. I'm going to bed because I'm tired. And I will holler at y'all tomorrow. All right? Go Birds.
Get ready for the show, it's about to begin. Pro fan talk when we dive right in. Sports talk, hot takes, ain't nothing we lack. We the real fans, nothing holding us back. Mic check, 1, 2, y'all know the drill. We bringing the energy, we keep it real. From touchdowns on liquid air on the slam dunks on the court. Every sport, every game, we holding down the fort. We breaking down the plays, dissecting the stats. Pro fan talk, we keeping it fat. Debating with passion, no filter, no doubt.